Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Adventure Paradox podcast. We have been featuring a lot of really unique travelers, hosts of travelers, travelers who want to help other travelers to take incredible adventures in this lifetime. And today we have someone from Morocco. I'll give him a formal introduction in just a moment, but I want to formally welcome you, Azdean Elmoustaquim, to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you today, and where in the world are you zooming in from?
I'm doing great. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, Kat. I love your podcast. I love what you do. It's incredible. Today I am in Houston, Texas. I was in Morocco a couple of weeks ago, so I'm based in Houston. So
Fantastic. And I know you're from Morocco, and we're going to talk a little bit more about maybe what it was like growing up there, how you came to Houston. But for those who don't know, Azdean is the founder and chief travel planner of Destinations Morocco Tour Company. How did your business come into being? Let's start there.
that's a really, really good question, Kat. Basically, we travel back and forth, me and my wife, to Morocco, and we have been doing it for some time, and it was perfectly fine. But then when we had our son, it was really important for him to know and understand where he comes from, his background, his roots. So that's why we created Destinations Morocco, and doing so, it really, I mean, we fell in love back with the country. We just love it. We took it for granted for so long, and it just since then he went back to Morocco about 3 times. He speaks the language fluently, and when we go to shows, he does his thing, and he sells Morocco really better than I do. So. It's incredible.
How old is he now?
He's 10.
Oh my gosh. My daughter is also 10, and I can see it. I mean, they say a good business pitch, if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, it's not there. And then when your 5-year-old or 10-year-old starts explaining it to you, you're like, yeah, that's it.
That's it.
So good, so good. So what is the native tongue of Morocco?
Say that again, please, Kat.
The native tongue of Morocco. You said he speaks the
Oh,
language.
yes. The native tongue of Morocco it's called more of a dialect versus a language. It's called Darija. Um, just to give you an idea, comparing Darija to the formal Arabic, like Middle East, Egypt, and North Africa, we understand their dialect of Arabic and their Arabic, but they cannot understand ours because
Mm.
ours is a really mixture of a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of French, German, and a little bit of Amazigh language. So it's kind of a buffet of languages, if you would. So that's our mother tongue in Morocco.
Wow. Yeah, I know Morocco, a lot of different cultures, a lot of trading, the history. Is that sort of how the dialect evolved? Like, I'd love to hear a little more about the history of the language and
Oh,
dialect.
absolutely. The indigenous people of Morocco are Berbers. So that's and the language when you look at the Berber, the Amazigh people, the language is widely spoken in North Africa. Some in Morocco, in Algeria, it's called Kabylie language, Amazigh as well. A little bit of parts of Tunisia, a little bit of Libya, and a small part in Swan in Egypt, which is a surprise to a lot of people. So when we talk about Morocco and the Amazigh language in Morocco, there are many different languages that are spoken. There's the Rifi language, which is spoken in the Rif Mountains in the north side of Morocco. And this one is completely different language. The other ones, the other Amazigh languages that are spoken in the rest of the parts of Morocco, they are somewhat similar. You can understand some words are different, but you can still get the communicate and get the whole point. But the one in the north side of Morocco is totally different. So that's the original language of the Amazigh people. Then Darija came afterwards, which is basically it's not Arabic, but it's the informal language, if you would, of the people of Morocco. So
Wow, very interesting. I always think better understanding, how people speak and why, especially when a dialect is involved and you're traveling, is you don't want to skip over that as a traveler. It's
absolutely.
good to sort of know where it's coming from, especially as you're learning. I don't know if you have any little tidbits. I always think when traveling, it's good to know how to say toilet, thank you, sorry,
Absolutely.
Please. Are there any little pieces of the language or dialect that you share with your travelers to help them get around?
Oh, absolutely. That's a really good question, Kat. We have done about 102 videos about Darija classes, part one, part two, and so forth. And we share them in our YouTube channel. We'll give the information afterwards. And basically, it talks about exactly what you have mentioned. Let's say you go to a restaurant, you want to ask for a menu, how to ask for a menu, how to negotiate, how to ask, do you have a toilet? Where is the toilet? You go to the pharmacy, how to ask, the pharmacist for a doctor, I mean, medicine and stuff like that. So it is really, really important. And one of the most important ones is, when you greet people, hi, everybody understands hi, hello, but also when you say it in Darija, like salam, we say salam, you just reply back salam.
Mm.
That means hi back or hello or good to see you and stuff like that. So it's really, really impressive when somebody hears you say salam. So I kind of look at it and it's like, hey, salam cat, so it's very impressive to know, just a little bit, couple of words. And also it's really important when you go into the Medina, you're probably gonna hear somebody because it's very crowded and narrow. You'll hear somebody saying balik balik. Balik, which means just get out of the way, coming through and stuff like that. So when you hear that, just pull to the right hand side. So because somebody behind you is coming really fast, motorcycle, bicycle, or some merchant or something like that. So yeah, definitely.
Wow, Bellic, Bellic. If you hear
Yes.
that, move over. Look. I love that one. And I love salam. It makes me think of shalom, peace
Yes,
in Hebrew, right? Just and
absolutely.
that sort of universal language that when you start really listening at a deeper level, I think we can really hear each other. So I'm curious, when traveling, there's always the super freeway, the highway of where you're probably expecting tourists and there are people there and it's a destination, it's in a lot of tour guides. And then there's the off the beaten path experience that I know a lot of our adventurers listening are interested in going the distance, whether it's summiting a mountain or going to ride horses or camels, and I'm excited to
Yes.
talk about that in a remote area. How do you begin to work with your clients and sort of assess if they might be a better fit for the super freeway destination or the off the beaten path adventure?
Oh, that's an amazing question, Kat, because it does make a big difference, especially in time. Using a freeway versus the old routes, if you would, or the ones that we used before the freeway. So, just to give you an idea, if you come in from Fast, going to Casablanca or Marrakesh, it's 6.5 hours to Marrakesh. And it's a freeway most of the time. But if you want to take a scenic route through the mountains, then it becomes 9 hours. There's always stops along the way, obviously, but then it really makes a difference going through the mountains. You're seeing a lot more of Morocco versus just a freeway, which anybody can really take. And also keep in mind, the landscape in Morocco really changes literally every 45 minutes. It feels like you're in a different country, in a different city every 45 minutes, from the mountains to the hills to, to the ocean, to the forest. It's incredible. So that's what driving in Morocco really gives you. And in terms of the choices, all the itineraries that we create and build for the clients, they're all hand, custom made. We
Mhm.
don't have one itinerary that it's similar. There's no two itineraries that are similar to each other. Everything is built from scratch according to the travel, what they want to see, how they want to get from point A to point B, the experiences they want to experience, and things they want to do, including the food, what they want to have, and so forth and so forth. So everything is customized.
Wow, that is awesome. And I love that you recognize like there's a big range of what people are looking for and supporting people in customizing and being able to voice what their needs are. And then it changes. You might
Yeah.
think, "Oh, I'm going to hike," and then you hurt your ankle and you're not going to hike. So, are you going to enjoy the place you're staying at the base of the mountain, or do you maybe want to upgrade to something else more comfortable now that you're not just sleeping there, you're hanging out there, because you're hurt, et cetera, et cetera. How do you help people feel safe? I'm vaguely remembering maybe Marrakesh, like some pickpocketing things, and I mean all cities, right? Preying on tourists or people who clearly maybe don't know what they're doing. But how do you support your clients to feel safe and maybe specifically women?
Oh, I love that question, Kat. Safety is it's top concern for everybody traveling. Morocco, it's very safe for solo travelers, for female travelers. But I completely agree with you. When you look at the major cities, like Marrakesh, which is it's been a number one destination globally for quite some time. You look at Fes, you look at Casablanca, you look at Rabat. There's so many opportunity for for scams and because the Medina is so busy. It's you're not gonna feel somebody reaching out to your pocket. It's just so packed. So, and the best way to do that to protect, through our podcast, I believe we have 4 episodes. We just talk about scams. And when you listen to those episodes, it seems like I'm talking negative about Morocco, which I really, really don't. But I have to be honest with the audience and I have to be honest with me. But also, it's bringing awareness to the travelers.
Mm,
So, and we get so many messages. Thank you. This guy, followed me or did this, and he was so nice and so was smiling throughout the time, but I knew that a scam is about to unfold. And because I listened to that episode, it really saved me from, saving money or, bad experience and stuff like that. So, yes, in terms of women, Morocco is very safe. And also the way that we build itineraries, you're really never alone. So
mm,
the constant, you always have your car and driver literally all the time, 24/7. You have access to them. You have access to us here. In the US, you have access to a manager on duty for you 24/7. Then when the driver is not around and you're doing the Medina or a site visit, there's always a local guide with you. So literally you're never alone by yourself. And then, they see you with a local guide or they see you with a driver, nobody's gonna approach you. So they just, you're not their target, if you would. They want somebody just by themselves or somebody that look a little bit lost. They don't know where they are going. They don't know what they are doing. And those are the signs that, people will pick up and target you for a scam.
wow. You're bringing me back to a story when I was traveling. I was 20 years old
Oh, wow.
and we were in Cape Town, South Africa, and I wanted to hike Table. So I took a taxi cab by myself, as Dean, to the trailhead.
Oh,
And
my
when
goodness.
we got there, the cab driver decided he was going to try to charge me triple.
Oh, wow.
And we had agreed on the price before we started. And I said, no, I'm not paying you that. And he started following me down the trail
Oh, my goodness.
asking for more money. And luckily, I could see some women up the switchbacks, and I started yelling and saying, "This man is following me. I need help. I do not want him following me. I have paid my money." You're just reminding me that experience of there may be a moment where you are alone and how to work through that. But ideally, if you're working with a travel guide and you're not a 20-year-old who thinks she's safe anywhere in the mountains, like I did. I just sort of thought, well, once I'm out in nature, I'll be okay. I hadn't thought about the driver himself maybe not being safe, who I just picked up off the street, right? So
Absolutely.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you ended up in Houston, Texas. You talked a bit about the business, but then also understanding, because it sounds like you're really catering to an American audience, thinking about what are some of the concerns people might have, what are some of the things they might not know. I love that you covered the top four because ultimately it's not just Morocco. Like these kinds of scams are happening everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
So
That's right.
to better understand sort of street smarts and thinking about really, I love to talk about it as horse sense, but like, something about this, it seems too easy. This is like,
Yeah.
I would love to hear a little bit more again about how you're catering from Houston, how you ended up there, and who is your ideal client?
Oh, those are really good questions. So I came to, it's funny story how I came to Houston to the US. I honestly, this is my honest opinion. I never thought that I would come to the US. I mean, going to heaven seems a lot easier than coming to the US. I mean, it's just, that's my opinion because I do not qualify in any way, form, or shape to come to the US. And the way that it happened, I just went to say goodbye to one of my neighbors who was he was studying in Houston at that time, and then he said, "Hey, if you want to come to Houston, I can send you the I-20, which is a document that he gets from the university." And then I fill it up, the application, they approve me, then I take it with me to the embassy and all the paperwork that it needed. Everything that it needed for me to come to the US, I did not have. So he did everything for me. His family did everything for me. All I had to do is just study English and pass the test, which is the TOEFL test, which is, I believe it's a test of English as a foreign language or something like that.
Yeah.
So I did really good in that score, and that's how I really came to the US. And then when I got here for 2 weeks, I did not. The experience just still feels surreal because I I just would never thought in my wildest dreams that I'm gonna come to United States. So that's really how I got here, and I'm super grateful forever. So and then being here with the story how we started the Destinations Morocco, me and my wife. Obviously, we are in the US and we're very grateful. So the US did so much for us in so many different ways and levels. And one of them is it really made us appreciate Morocco even more. When I see Morocco, I see the culture, I see the tradition, I see the art, the culture. Back then, I was blinded to everything and I took everything for granted. And this is
Mm.
the honest truth. So then we helped so many people along the way, directly or indirectly. And then being in the US, and I've been in the hospitality industry for quite some time. When I came, I was just bussing tables. I was cleaning tables at a Mexican restaurant. That's what I did for quite some time. Then my English improved. Then I went, I worked at the Olive Garden for a little bit. And, I kept going up and I worked, in hotels, maybe 6 or 7 different chains of hotels. And then I started doing the retail. I worked at dealers, I worked at Neiman Marcus, so that's really my background. So I've always loved helping people, and the customer experience was a big part of it. So when we did start the company, pandemic hit, and then it gave us an outstanding opportunity in terms of time. So we had all the time for us to look into so many things, tourism in Morocco, how to change, how to make it better, and so that's what we did. So being in the US, and again, it gave me the opportunity that I can relate to the travelers in the US, what they want, what they don't want, how they like to travel, how do they like to be catered to, how do they like to be pampered, and and especially in terms of the culture, I'm very fortunate that I understand the US culture, the American culture, then the Moroccan culture, and the similarities and the differences. So that puts me in a really good position instead of when somebody talks to me, I can feel what they are saying and I can relate to what they are saying because I've lived here for 3 decades, and that's just incredible. So, and we'll go back to a few things that you said when it comes to safety and security. Morocco, again, it's super safe, and I went there for a month and a half almost in November, and when I got there, there was a Interpol uh, convention. So the Interpol doing their convention in Marrakesh, that tells you big things. I mean, it's very impressive. Then just last week, the FBI was in Morocco doing a tour in the African Cup of Nations because the US is part of the World Cup FIFA. This year they're organizing the World Cup, America, Mexico, and Canada. So Morocco has been hosting the African Cup and did a really, really good job. So they were taking, I would say, notes and tips. So, and again, the security in Morocco, the system, the setup is very different than the US.
Mm.
We have invisible police, we have tourist police that you don't see them, they just look like every person really in the market or the medinas. Then you have the regular police and different divisions of the police. So in less than a mile away, in any direction you go, you'll see like a sprinter police car. They're everywhere. Then if we're going from city to city, there are police checkpoints, at least an average of four. They
Mm.
check the speed, there are monitoring the speeds on the freeway. So there's, in terms of safety, Morocco is super safe. And one thing that I really, really noticed when I went to Morocco this time, I didn't pay attention to it before. I see students, I see kids, 10, 12-year-old, 13-year old, they're walking back and forth from to their school. In their school it's not really close by, it's not in the neighborhood, it's different back home, and they're walking probably for maybe a mile or something close to it, but nobody's monitoring them, nobody's kidnapping them. They're crossing the street, major streets, everybody's good. So it just I was like, wow, this is really good indicator in terms of safety. So yeah, so for female travelers, for solo travelers, Morocco is one of the best spots for you to go and explore, even if you don't have a local guide with you, even on your own. Just be aware. Just be self-awareness is important. Be aware of your surroundings, and people that pass by you and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure. Yes, I hope I answered all the questions. I'm not sure if I forgot something.
I think you did. Yeah, how you came to Houston and then also who your ideal client is
Oh,
and
so yes, the
yeah.
ideal client. That's a really, really good question. When we started the tour company, it was difficult for us to see where we're headed and so forth and so forth. But then when we started the podcast, it gave us some extremely interesting and very important data in terms of the target audience. 60% of our clients are Jewish.
Hmm.
98% of who book with us are women. The 2% men, I cannot close them. I don't know why. It's probably the hair. So, but it's the number one experience that we get, and the number two. Number one is the Berber experience. People they want to, and this is especially for 2025. They want to experience the locals, the families, and so forth. And the second one is the Jewish heritage tours, which is huge. If you're not familiar with Morocco, Morocco has a very rich Jewish culture in terms of art, architecture, and also the food. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was curious as you were talking about the police and the invisible police and sort of historically, why is that? And even tourist police, was there something that happened, or has that just kind of always been how it is? Lots of different police?
It's the system has been implemented for decades, and that's something that we learned from the French when we were a French colony, and then we developed it in a way we kind of expanded on it and made it more. So there's at least four or five divisions of police that monitor and that watches everything, even though they are invisible to us, and this is personally how we found out. We were in 2023. I was in Marrakesh. We're about to take our tour. We did the documentary. We traveled for 40 days throughout Morocco, and I'm based in Marrakesh. So we started in Marrakesh, and our first stop was the Jewish quarter. So that's where we met. And as soon as we pulled up the equipment, the Mercedes Sprinter with the police, they came up to us and said, "Hey, do you have a permit?" And we said, "We don't physically have a permit, but the guy who's working with us, he's with a news channel, but he's at the mosque, just performing the Friday prayers. He'll be here shortly." And then he was very nice, and he said, "Hey, I understand, but I have to let the rest of everybody else know.
Hmm.
Otherwise I get in trouble." And said, "Yeah, sure, do what you need to do." And in less than 10 minutes, we had some people coming, police with cars, police with motorcycles on their, on their foot. So, and they just surrounded us and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And because they're really, really protective of the culture of many things. But now, if it's a foreigner, if it's a tourist, I've seen tourists with better equipment, they don't say nothing to them, which I totally understand. I didn't like it at that time, but I really appreciate it now.
Hmm.
So, and then the guy with the permit came and they knew who he was. So there's like, "Hey, where are you gonna go?" And we told them we're gonna go to the Bahia Palace, we're going to Marjorie Garden, we're going to all these places. He said, "Don't worry, you don't need to show anything to anyone. We're gonna call them for you. So everybody's gonna be welcoming you." And that's exactly what happened. Anywhere we went, nobody said anything to us. They knew we were coming and they were expecting us, and everybody was very nice. The same thing happened when we did again the second time we did the food tasting tour in Marrakesh. They came to us and it's like, "Hey, you're back. Good to see you. You want some water?" And they were very nice and said, "Hey, how long is it gonna take?" And I said, "Maybe 4 or 5 hours." He said, "Well, when you finish, just come back and we'll chit chat." So we did come back, but it was kind of late, so we didn't find them. So
Wow, that's a really cool story, Estine. That's pretty cool. Speaking of cool stories, so one of my favorite spiritual quotes is trust in God, but tie up your camel.
absolutely.
I'd love to hear you tell us more about camels. I mean, I think a lot of folks see this sort of tourism attraction. We have it here too with horses, right? But
Yes.
and they're really like, "Ooh, I want to ride a camel," but don't really have any idea what that means, what it's about, how it works, maybe how the camels are treated, how they're looked after, and how they connect to the tourism industry. But I would love to hear it from you.
Oh, that's a really good question. The camels in Morocco are treated really, really well. There's two major, I mean, in any major city you go where there's tourists, you'll see somebody have a camel or two. They just, if you want to get, get a ride or just get on top, they'll charge like 10 US dollars and stuff like that. But when you go to Merzouga, which is the desert, that's the real, real experience. And you'll see the camels normally. Every camel will have their own guide, and normally that's the owner of the camel. Sometimes they have two or three. They work in separate groups, and they'll help you get it to the camel. The camel normally will be sitting, then you just get on top of it. Then they'll have. It looks like it's not a it's a piece of metal that like you can put to both of your hands and just hang tight to it. Then the camel handler will ask the camel to get up, and it's gonna go forward, then it's gonna go up, and you're good. Then getting down is the same way. There's help, but also the camels they're really neat creatures in so many different ways, but super smart. I think I could be wrong, but my personal opinion, I think they can feel your emotions because last time we did it, probably 3 weeks ago, and then 2 years ago, um, one of the camels just kept getting close to me, and I've taken some pictures, and for some reason, she just felt really comfortable with me because I was
Mm,
petting it and just talking to it, and it was really really nice to see because my perspective of camels, my idea is like they're rugged, they're rough. They can be mean, all the things that we heard, but they are absolutely the opposite. So
mm,
they're very gentle. And then the other thing that you will see, cat those camels, they have been trained for a long time how to handle uh, the riders, the people, the desert. That's what they do. So and sometimes what happens, like in when you go to the desert, it's just let's say that just two of you, then you'll see a third camel just being tied to the last camel because they tie them up that way they don't lose each other. That's just they're in training, so they'll just go
mm.
empty. They have nobody, nobody's riding them. They'll just do that for some time until they are used to the route they're going to be taking, and they're a little bit more comfortable in a group and also with people with them versus just no people around. So in that regard, the camels are really really treated well. They are fed well. Um, and you can see them. Their belly always looks full. Now you'll see they're mixed. It can be a male or a female, but if a female is pregnant, then she's out. Then she cannot be part of the experience. So yeah.
Couple of like sort of, and this might be a little too in baseball, if you know what I mean, but I'm curious with camels, and you did such a beautiful job. And I've seen the videos of like
Yeah.
how they go backwards and forwards, and you're holding on to something that might not be called a saddle, but kind of like a
Yes.
saddle. And then I'm curious about like one hump or two hump camels, and then also like how big are they? Like, kind of.
Oh, that's a good question. The ones that we have in Morocco, technically they are not real camel because they only have one hump. Uh, that's very true. And you're right. It's similar to what we call the saddle. I always recommend people getting, on a camel ride to wear something long,
Hmm.
long shorts or, like a pants because the skin sometimes can be uncomfortable and sometimes you'll have some allergies or your skin is sensitive and stuff like that. So you don't want it to really touch in the camel skin directly. So they're really, really gentle. They're very tall. And once you get into the camel, it's different than riding the horse. You want to sit all the way in the back of the camel. That's where it's comfortable. Then relax your legs, especially your thighs, and just enjoy the ride because the camel feels you and feels your movement, and it just kind of in sync with its movement. So don't resist it, just go with the flow.
I can't wait to ride a camel one day. Like, and why, like, what's the technicality of one hump or two hump makes it an actual camel or not? Like, is there a different name? Like, what is that exactly?
There is a different name. I forgot the name that we have for the camels in Morocco, but we just it's easier just to say it's a camel, but it's a different. The technical name is different than camel.
So interesting. Oh my gosh. Well, I know our listeners are definitely going to want to connect with you. They're going to want to hear more. We will put all of this in the show notes, but for someone who's listening, out walking their dog or doing dishes right now, and they're going to go on to the next thing and they want to remember what's your website, your podcast, favorite social media handles where you like to hang out? How do you want people to find you?
Oh, that's a really good question. The best way to find us, I would say the website, which is destinationsmorocco.com. That's destinations with an S, morocco.com. And when you get to the website, it has, our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I am big on LinkedIn. Also, we have YouTube channel, like we mentioned earlier. It's Destination Morocco. Once you Google it, you'll find it. Then the podcast, you can listen to it anywhere you really get your podcast, which is Destination Morocco podcast. And we just passed our 100 episodes, so I highly recommend it. Thank you, Kat. So there's so many episodes. We did so many solo episodes that will make you really fall in love with Morocco, even before going to Morocco. So it's I highly recommend it for sure.
Fantastic. I can't wait to check it out. I'm a big fan of podcasts. Did we miss anything? Are there any stories you want to leave our listeners with or anything you feel like we missed today?
When we talk about travel to Morocco, it, when you do travel to Morocco, it will change you. It will make you see things a little different. And this is something that I heard many times. And one story really I keep repeating, which is Rochelle and her husband from New Zealand. They went to Morocco and they have traveled in so many different places. And I stayed in contact with her afterwards, and she was like, the best thing for me that stayed with me was, we visited the Berber family who lived in the cave, and I just could not believe it. She said that experience, you go in, you just, hear little stories, Moroccan mint tea. But then she said that experience really stayed with me, and it made me appreciate things that we take every day for granted, and we can't relate to that. So, that's I always think of Rochelle and her story. Then the other one is with Sisha from Canada. She only wanted to go to the desert, and she did 5 days in the desert. And then she was like, I found myself in the desert. So it's the
Mm.
stories are just when you listen to the podcast, the ones that we have, the guests that we have that they have traveled with us. Oh my gosh, I really recommend them. They will touch you for sure.
Totally. I'm so excited that you share your guests on your podcast
Thank
because
you.
really hearing someone's adventure experience, seeing it with new eyes through the experience you've supported them in having, right, and guided them to, nothing beats that. Like you can really hear it in the
Yeah,
voice. And why I
absolutely.
love podcasting so much. But I'm so excited to go and check those stories out. And thank you for sharing them. And hats off to you and the work that
Thank
you're
you.
doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, listeners. If you loved this, subscribe, follow along. It means the world to us. And thank you so much for listening. Hopefully, we'll see you all in Morocco.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kat. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So at the end, when you say thank you, would you say salam or would you say something else?
Salam is good because it means everything really, but it really means peace. But it's, if you say salam, it can be, it's like, hey, hi, greeting, hello, or it can still say mean goodbye as well. So
Well, in that case, salam salam.
salam.
Until next time.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you.